This past October, I ran the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. I'd set a target of sub 4 hours and started my training back in June. In this video, I'm going to share my experience running the marathon, as well as some of the other fun things I got up to just days before the race. This vlog, well, voiceover vlog, VOE, perfect, begins on Thursday, October 17th. I started my day with a short 6.44 kilometer run, just 4 miles, which sounds long now, but during a marathon training, 6.44 kilometers is a very chill day.
All right, so we're on the south side of Queen's Park, not all the way south, just out to this main track here. We have the Premier's office to my right. I want to show you starting just in the first 1-2 kilometers where the full marathon's going to be. So we're going to come through where these cars are. This is like the first kilometer, 2 kilometers. They're going to clear the roads. All the roads are going to be blocked off. Right now I'm running on the side where these cars are, is where thousands of runners are going to be Sunday morning. You can see Victoria College. I don't know if you can see it. An orange cone rooftop there. It's the second last run of the training. So we're going to run all the way up top here to the northmost end of Queen's Park, curl off to the side, all the way up north to Bloor Street, and then turn left on Bloor. But yeah, should be fun.
Finished that in about 35 minutes, and I took an Epsom salt bath to help soothe the muscles. After that, the plan was to head on a journey to Adelaide Street East to pick up Vic's hockey jerseys for the season. I had my pretty personal assistant with me as well.
You have a very nice outfit today. I bet it didn't take you that long to figure out, did it? Awful.
Next day, more fun stuff. Friday, we celebrated my boy's birthday by heading to Play Activate. This place is amazing, and I'll tell you why. Think if the arcade/video game industry and the fitness industry had a baby. That is Play Activate. Bunch of fun stuff in there. Highly recommend. To fuel up, we stopped by a Booster Juice that was right next door, and then went on a roof. The birthday festivities continued as we marched down to Yonge Dundas Square to watch Smile 2. Great movie, highly recommend. I think it was just as good, if not better, than the first one, which is hard to pull off. Through these past days is obviously boring work stuff happening, but I'm just trying to show you some of the cool things to do other than work. Okay, next day. This is the day before the race, which means it's time to visit the expo to pick up my bib, t-shirt, and check out any cool pop-ups they've got at the event. There are going to be a bunch of water stations set up throughout the marathon, which will also have these noon electrolyte things and goo packs. Don't take a goo pack if you are dehydrated and it's towards the end of the race and you're hot. Happened to me, completely messed up my mouth. I just spit it out. It was gross. Anyways, at this point before the race, I'd never tried noon or goo or any of these things, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. There was this giant wall with every runner's names, and there were 2 other runners with the same last name as me, so shout out. To be fair, not everyone here was running the full marathon. You had the choice between the full, which was 42.2 kilometers, the half marathon, 21.1, and a 5K. There were actually at least 4 VOV guests who were running in this thing, so shout out to Yam, Jacob, L, and Belise. We got some samples and eventually headed back on the train. Got back, did some laundry, and went out for my last run of the training.
So I'm about halfway through a 2-mile shakeout run the day before the race. I don't know why they call it a shakeout run. I don't know, I guess just to get loose and shake out the nerves. I don't know, maybe I can look it up. I'm going super slow for this because I'm still sick. I'm on the latter end of it, like I'm healing. It was definitely worse yesterday and the day before, but I'm not gonna do anything stupid here, hurting my knee or anything like that. So going nice and easy, nice and slow. Wrap this one up and have some nice pre-run meal the night before, since the race is at 8 a.m. tomorrow. My brother is actually dropping off my mom tonight. She's gonna sleep over to not risk missing seeing me at the start of the run tomorrow. Once again, since everything is gonna be closed down, gonna be editing VOV episode 77 tonight. That'll be my wind down, relaxing activity to kind of just chill. I have to do it. It's going to be posted tomorrow, so normally I'm ahead of these things, but had a week of midterms, so it is what it is. Got it done tonight, and just kind of relax, so see you then.
Got back in and had some dinner prepped by my lovely girlfriend. Living every guy's dream when your girl cooks you dinner. It's fantastic. Edited some of VOV episode 77 and got to bed just past 11 o'clock. Next day, it's October 20th. It is now the morning of the race. I got up at 6 a.m. It was about a 30-minute walk to the start line from Res, and I wanted to get there an hour early. I ate this banana chocolate oat bar thing that my mom baked before she came to Toronto. We were ready to leave by 6:30 a.m. and I was calmly excited. I wasn't nervous. Honestly, I was just taking it all in and enjoying time with my mom and girlfriend. There was a ton of people packed in Nathan Phillips Square, which is where we spend most of our time before the run began at 8 o'clock. I did feel pretty out of place there. These people, you could tell, were runners. I was just a dude who decided to train for a marathon. It was time to line up. There were 5 corrals. When you register for the race, they ask you for your target time so that they can organize the runners by speed. Obviously, fastest go to the front of the line so that there's less need for people to dodge around each other once the race starts. I registered as 240 minutes, which was right on the cutoff line for the blue and yellow corrals. My goal was to do less than 240, so if I had set my target to 239 when I registered, I would have been able to start ahead of hundreds of more people. Obviously now I don't care, but I remember finding that pretty unlucky before the race. We were waiting for our corral to start moving, and by 8:28 a.m. I stepped over the start line and we were off. My plan was to take the first 1 to 2 kilometers super easy because the streets are just so jammed with people, and the more you weave or the less you run perfectly straight along the course, that's adding unwanted distance to the 42.2 kilometers of the marathon. My watch, well, it was my mom's watch. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I use my mom's. At the end, showed 42.43 kilometers. So I ran about 230 meters purely in lateral motion, purely weaving around people. Even though I planned for a slow start, I'm not going to lie, it was a bit unsettling to see 6:20 on my first kilometer. I picked it up and ran my first 5K with a 5:42 average pace. A sub-4 marathon is 5:40 average pace. Shout out to the Varsity Blues cheerleading team, by the way. We ran along Bloor very early on and passed by the Varsity Blues field where the cheerleaders were out doing their thing. They may or may not have been there just for me. I can't confirm nor deny. I'm just saying. First water station was at 3 kilometer mark, and those noon electrolytes were awesome. At 3 kilometers, you like it for the taste. At 40 kilometers, you like it because it's the one thing keeping you from passing out. So there were 16 water stations throughout the course, and they came in clutch. I will say, though, sometimes I'd be running behind someone, and they'd start walking once they reached the water station. I was stepping on people's feet and had to slow down for these dudes. From 5 kilometers to 10 kilometers, I ran a 5:32 average pace. At this point, I was thinking about the spectators. There were thousands of runners, but there were tens of thousands of spectators that were cheering the runners on. And to be honest, I really think they helped. At first, I was wondering who would come out here and watch a bunch of random people run. Like, it's not like you get to see your family member or your friend who's in the race for that long. Like, why would you stand out here? But then I thought, compare that to the actual runners. Would you rather suffer for 4 hours and pay hundreds of dollars to do it? Or would you rather go out on a warm day, hang out with your buddies, and laugh and tell jokes? Obviously, I think that the runners are the ones who need to be answering the questions a little more in that case. But the spectators did have some funny signs. There was a lot of repetitive ones, but they were pretty great. Don't trust a fart after mile 14, because apparently people are shitting themselves on the race. I don't know nothing about that. Some signs said, you have great cardio, call me. Smile if you peed yourself. Run if you think I'm sexy. You'd have like some old lady holding that up. If you pass out, I'll pause your Strava. Listen, I don't know what Strava is. Well, I kind of do. It's like, from what I understand, it's like Instagram for runners. So basically you go on your run, and when you finish your run, it posts to your Strava account, and you can like follow your friends and whatever. Anyway, I don't have it. Pain is just bread in French. Run like Diddy's chasing you. That one I only saw once. So a lot of the other ones were repetitive, but I only saw one Diddy sign, which was pretty funny. But my absolute favorite was people who were holding out a square piece of cardboard with the Mario mushroom on it. And it said, tap for a power-up. I actually tapped 2 of those signs, and they helped me out. Not gonna lie. From 10 to 15 kilometers, I ran a 5:38 average pace. For reference, my longest run during the training was 32 kilometers. So at this point in the marathon, I'm doing fine. Obviously, running 15K is running 15K, but I'd done it before, so it was okay. I crossed the half marathon mark at 1:58.14, which was right below a sub 4 pace. I was very happy to see my mom and girlfriend at that point. The course got much quieter on the back half. From kilometers 19 to 21, there was lots of noise and cheering for the runners finishing their half marathon. You'd have to think there's thousands of them, but that quickly dissipated. Eventually, the heat starts to set in, your knees feel a little sore, the views aren't as pretty. Somehow, there are way fewer spectators. All you're thinking about is the next water station, really. From the half marathon point to 30 kilometers, I ran a 5:38 average pace. But it was the 31 kilometer mark that really messed me up because I could see the big sign with 31 written on it from a distance, and I thought that was the point where we turn around and start heading back into the city. But I get to the sign and the road doesn't turn back, but instead turns the corner of a building. And I actually have another 2 kilometers till the course turns back around. And 2 kilometers is long. It's not like I can see where it turns around. I just see a long extending road into the distance. From 30 kilometers to 35 kilometers, I ran a 5:49 average pace, which is 9 seconds above a sub 4 pace. When you register, there's an option to tick a box saying if you want your name written on your bib. I had no idea why it was optional. I still don't, but I know that I probably made the right decision. In the last stretch and throughout the race, you'd be very lucky for a spectator to take the time and effort to try and read the name on your bib as you're running past. They'd say something like, "You got this, Carter," some stranger. It's the simplest thing. It's so basic. But when you're in the last few kilometers of that run and hear someone make a personal call out like that, it's the best thing in the world. That random person becomes your best friend for a brief moment. It's like you feel they know you. They have no idea who you are. They're just being nice. That being said, every second of those last 5 kilometers was a battle. From 35 to 40 kilometers, I ran a 5:53 average pace. The finish line was coming up in no time. The streets were more packed with spectators than at any other point in the race. Makes sense. People like winners. There was about 1 mile left and I had been behind this cool looking Filipino dude. He was probably in his early 40s. I noticed he was struggling and thought if I could hype him up, it could give us both some energy. I reached my hand out and offered him a low 5. He was loving it. He was absolutely loving it. He smacked my hand so hard it left a red print on it, and then he darted off. He burst past me. I gained some energy from it too. Obviously, the runners were very supportive to each other during the race. It's very authentic because you know the guy beside you is going through the same shit as you. There's risk involved as well. Like I had to run through and around paramedic trucks twice because guys collapsed mid-run. I'm in the home stretch with less than a kilometer left. The clock on my watch is accurate, but I'm not certain of how much distance I have left since, like I said earlier, part of the total distance that the watch is tracking was lateral movement. I believe I'm okay for pace, but I don't know for certain. I hype up another guy towards the end of the race and give the last of the energy I had in the tank. I crossed the finish line, and I am 99% sure I achieved my goal. I instantly spot my mom and girlfriend and feel a sweeping sense of relief. My knees are wrecked, I'm dehydrated, I feel like I'm going to throw up, and the second toe on my right foot is bleeding. Only that one for some reason, don't know why. My girlfriend and mom were great enough to have a Gatorade for me, which is also when they told me my final time, which was 3:59:04. Drank the Gatorade slowly and I didn't eat until later because I felt like I honestly could throw up. Oh, and my balls were killing me. Sorry. That was one of the worst feelings. My balls were throbbing, okay? Sorry to the ladies watching this, but I can't leave that out. I discovered later that that's why a lot of runners wear tights, so their nuts aren't swinging around, smacking against their thighs for 4 hours. Anyways, I lived my way home, sat in my chair in my room doing nothing for a few minutes. Eventually I get in the shower, finish editing the podcast for the week, and eat some food. I gave my mom a hug goodbye and rested for the rest of the day. Well, most of the day. Vic Hockey had a game that night, and I haven't missed a game since I joined the team in first year. So I played in that. We won 4-1. That's all. Peace out. And sorry, one more thing. Shout out to those guys, the 5 dudes who were attempting to break the world record for fastest marathon in a 5-person costume. They were dressed as a TTC streetcar. And they finished before me. Okay, see ya.
Wait, they're ahead of him. That's what he didn't want.